Welcome to Cardano over coffee. Please remember to join us live Monday through Friday on Twitter Spaces, 1:30 p.m. UTC, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give us a like and subscribe on our YouTube and download our podcasts on all major platforms. On today's show, we have Cogito Protocol. They offer stablecoin-as-a-service framework that allows for the creation of digital assets known as tracercoins with low volatility. Listen in to learn more. And we look forward to seeing you at Rare Evo in Denver, Colorado, August 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets at rareevo.io. Use coupon code COC10 for 10% off. Let's jump right in.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining us today on Cardano over coffee. It's great to hear about Cogito directly from the team here. So why don't we just jump into things after one pressing question? What type of coffee do you like to drink?
Cappuccino with regular milk, thank you. Medium size.
Nice, you were ready.
Same answer as Glorious, but just before 10 a.m. After that, it's going to be espresso. Without sugar, without anything.
That's the proper way to do it.
I learned from the Italians.
Oh, I see.
That's good. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you both drink coffee. That makes this conversation much easier. We do get a few tea drinkers, but this show was founded on the idea of drinking coffee and talking about Cardano. So, welcome. Why don't we kick things off to get to know each other a little bit better? I'll go ahead and ask. I guess Cloris, you can go first. Excuse me. What could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into blockchain, how you got started with blockchain?
Yes, sure, no problem. Say hi to the kid as well. So yeah, this is Cloris. I'm the CEO of Cogito Protocol. I know the name has been confusing, and I just eavesdropped that this word also has some special meaning in Spanish, which there's no idea. I have no idea what it is. I would appreciate if someone would share me about that in DM. But anyways, our project is doing a stablecoin, non-fiat type stablecoin. And we are a spin-off from SingularityNet, which is the biggest AI company in crypto. So we will be using a lot of AI models in our project for the design and management, etc. So about myself, I come from banking background. I used to work for HSBC for 6 years in the corporate banking department, and I was in Bangkok and Hong Kong the whole time. Basically, my experience is in Asia Pacific, but right now I'm based in New York. And I started blockchain I would say roughly around DeFi time, when I started to find like crypto, actually there's something real going on here, and these are the products that I can understand, the logic that I can understand, and then I started to gradually participate in some yield farming, some having some fun there. And then Janet, the CEO of SingularityNet, invited me to lead Cogito. That was a year ago, and we have passed a year's journey of running the company, running the project. And so we are having this great token generation event with Genius X soon, and ask me anything about it in the upcoming 40 or 30 minutes. Cool.
Great.
And
New York.
Yeah, Jason, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got to blockchain?
Sure. Yeah, I was just gonna say New York is it's a great because I started my career in New York. It was a very long time ago. Currently based in Switzerland of Europe. So personally, my background was pretty much investment. So I've done venture capital, private equity investment for the last about 13, 14 years. And because I really enjoyed working with the startup companies and advising them and in connection with investment, even with my Web2 VC investment background. So when I joined Web3, I started joining personally, just a similar story with a lot of people in 2020, and but professionally I started working with Genius X like last year. because it's an accelerator and it allows for me to continue to work with a lot of startup companies, doing a lot of things that I familiar with doing and enjoy doing in my Web2 VC career before. So, that's pretty much my background. And GeniusX, as you know, it's a startup accelerator focused on Web3 industry and a launchpad as well. So we started from Cardano, and because of the team's background of building Genius Yield, another protocol that is kind of affiliate to GeniusX, but also because of the business for accelerator and launchpad is kind of blockchain agnostic. So for GeniusX, we have been expanding recently into other blockchains as well. As we have communicated before, we are also working on Polygon and Arbitrum right now. And there are, I think, a number of interesting news that we plan to communicate very soon, just in connection with our expansion plan. And also, in terms of the launchpad, we're currently supporting Cardano only, and that's why we're collaborating with the Cogito team on their Cardano sale. But we're also have a plan to potentially expanding the business into other ecosystems. And there's also a plan to launch our own token public sale very soon, which we'll have briefly communicated, and hopefully we're going to bring more details. So yeah, that's a little bit of combined information about myself and our business. So very happy to have the opportunity to work with Chloris and her team and to bring this very interesting projects to the Cardano community.
Awesome. So you're representing, just to make sure I understand, you're representing GeniusX, and Chloris is the CEO of Cogito, and y'all work together regularly, or how much are y'all in communication?
Yeah, so we are working with so GeniusX is working with Cogito for their public token sales or their IDO. Because of the I think the relationship between Cogito and SingularityNet, which Chloris is going to talk more about, and also the reputation of SingularityNet and its ecosystem within the Cardano community, and also because of the nature of the product Cogito is building, which I think and a lot of people think would also bring a lot of value potentially to the Cardano DeFi ecosystem. So we kind of discussed with their team quite some time ago, and then we feel it probably makes sense to bring the product and also the token of Cogito to the Cardano community. So because we have a launchpad that basically runs public token sales on Cardano blockchain, it's actually one of the very first order book based 100% smart contract controlled launchpad within Cardano. So that's kind of the nature of the current collaboration between GeniusX and Cogito.
Got it. That makes sense, and that's a great segue to my next question. So what is Cogito, and how does it relate to SingularityNet? And Chloris, maybe you can take this one. Tell us a little bit more about what Cogito is bringing to market, and how you've partnered with SingularityNet, or what that relationship.
Sure, no problem. Thank you for the question. So Cogito Protocol is a stablecoin project. We are offering non-fiat pegged stablecoin. So right now in crypto, basically 99% of the stablecoins are pegged to US dollar, which is exposed to escalated regulatory risk and high inflation risk as well. So we offer this product, we call it Tracercoin, basically trying to differentiate from the traditional stablecoin concept to offer the independent measure of value, the non-fiat pegged stablecoin, and also we offer a small hedge against the inflation. And we are our relationship with SingularityNet is not just partnership. So SingularityNet, we are a spin-off from SingularityNet. So basically, we share all the resources, the team, and the infrastructure, the AI models, etc. That all of those developed in SingularityNet over the past few years will be applied in Cogito's management. And Ben Gertel and Janet Adams are also our co-founders and management team. So we belong to the same group, I would say. And so I know SingularityNet has been around in Cardano for a while, but because we are a relatively new company within the group, so I figure it might be great if I can share more with the community about what we do and what we are aiming to offer in the future, so that Cardano community can get to understand more about us. Yeah.
Interesting. So I guess you're
Exactly.
a part of SingularityNet. So is Cogito kind of its own company, or is it a part of SingularityNet and being run from within that, or is it registered somewhere?
Sorry, it's a company run and what? What was the question again?
Yeah, for Cogito, is that just kind of a part of SingularityNet, or does it have its own kind of governing, group, or is it registered in a different place than Genius?
So we are part of SingularityNet, that's correct, but we also have our own registered entity where Ben, Jen, and myself are are running the company.
Got it. And do you know where SingularityNet is registered and based out of?
Yes, we are registered in St. Lucia. Why?
I'll trust you on it, unless Jason knows, but St. Lucia, okay, it's not the U.S., so that's a good choice.
No.
Yeah, I think it's a typical place. It's a very typical place for crypto companies, and obviously, U.S. is not going to be, the place you want to be, given the current regulation and where it's going. So, it's the Caribbean islands. Is part of the common choices.
Yes. Also, since we are on this topic about like where to register, I guess your question is like, what is the regulatory landscape like? So basically, right now we are not really touching US. So our business are offering even the token generation event that Jason and I mentioned just now are not open to any of the US citizens or anything. So no. Yeah, if that's the question that you had.
Yep, it's right on the money. Yeah, thanks for speaking to that. Anything to add here, Jason or Cloris, on the relationship with SingularityNet? It sounds like y'all are kind of the same team, and you have kind of full access to everything they're doing, and it sounds very beneficial so far.
Right. Yeah. That's what I have for that.
Yeah, I think my understanding I think SingularityNet's model it's quite interesting because I think it's kind of it's promoting basically a like AI related like community or marketplace kind of concept, but it doesn't really be in charge of like specific business or for a sector. But in order to actually create like a solution that actually solves some problem in real life, I think what SingularityNet team has been doing is to incubate like projects that has been benefiting from the technology or the science that somehow directly or indirectly provided by the SingularityNet team to actually solve a problem in real life. So for instance, I think I'm referring to like Rejuve.ai, which is basically the AI application for general health industries. And also there's like Hypercycle for like a network solutions. And I see Cogito is really the application that is going to address the problem with a stable coin. I think we have seen the problem very clearly with how USDC has been depegging when Silicon Valley Bank collapsed and all of this kind of issues. So I think it's kind of a model that I kind of understand. So because you can just talk about AI, but at the end of the day, you need to think about how AI can be used to solve one problem in our real life. So health could be one problem, finance stablecoin can be one problem. So there are many problems that has to be solved by like separate team or by actual business. So I think that's my view on that. Not sure if that's correct because I've been following, how Rejuve AI has been developing Hypercycle and then, other businesses and yeah. So I think that's the understanding. Not sure if Cloris has different comments.
That was pretty clear. Thank you, Jason. You know SingularityNet very well. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great segue as well into just the next question around the Tracercoins. So that's a new term, I think, in the Cardano vocabulary. So for our audience members, can someone here explain what is a tracer coin and how did this idea kind of come about?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So first of all, Tracercoin, Tracercoin basically is a new terminology that we are referring to the stablecoin that we are building because we want to differentiate from the traditional stablecoin concept, which is widely perceived as fiat pegged. So as to like what does it really mean for Tracercoin? So the first Tracercoin that we are offering will be G coin or green coin. So it will be tracking the positive progress towards a green economy. So that the way we do it is first of all we source a lot of data, like over 40 different indicators that tracks the environmental progress. For example, CO2 emission or green investment or like adoption of EV, etc., etc. And then we feed the data into a model which produces this in-house created green index. And then we create our green coin to peg to this green index on one-to-one basis. So we have tested the data based on the past 40 years history. Basically, the green index was moving like 1 to 2% per year, which offers a very good benchmark as a stable coin. And also because like the data sample is big enough, basically no one within the team or anybody can manipulate the database, makes it more independent and resilient to manipulation. On our green coin, let's say at launch, it will be offered at $1 at $1 value, and then as green index appreciates, the value will change as well. For example, if next year green index becomes 102, and then our price will become 102 as well. So that's the whole offering of this tracer coin concept. So it has two key features. One is stable but independent from fiat. Second is it offers a very small hedge to the inflation. So the whole idea was invented by Ben Gertzel, of course. Like he is basically the mastermind of all the CNET ecosystem projects, and we have been like improving the idea and then implementing it and then executing it along the journey. And right now we are offering the green coin first, but we also have a few other tracer coins in our roadmap that we might want to deploy. So connectively, we call our whole service here as stablecoin-as-a-service framework, which means like if the users want to launch other tracer coins using the same framework that we are using, we will be able to facilitate that as well. So that is the whole design of the product and then the origin of the idea.
That's awesome. We're gonna have to get Ben Gortzel on a space at some point.
We actually have a Twitter space with Ben tomorrow. Yeah, today actually this afternoon, Ben and I will have a Twitter space to talk about our Tracercoin adoption and the future landscape. So if anyone wants to join, please follow us on our Twitter.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll find that tweet and post it to the top. So that way we can join it as well. That sounds great.
Thank you.
So I guess we talked a little bit about the Cogito IDO or public sale about to start. Could you go into the details around that so that everyone kind of hears from the source, like when, where, how?
You mean for the tracer coin?
Yeah. The CGV, isn't there a public sale for the CGV token?
Right. Yeah. So, I guess before I start that, I want to differentiate a little bit on the two coins that we are talking about. So the tracer coin, which is the stable coin, right? That's our product. So we are not launching that yet. We just released our demo. So the product should be launching up in 3 to 6 months. So the token generation event is for our governance token, which we call CGV. And that will be with collaborating with Genius X for the Cardano offering. Jason, do you want to talk about the details about how is the logistic like on your side?
Yeah, sure. I can take this one. So I think overall, Cogito is organizing their public token sale round, And the way they do it is by partnering with multiple launchpads. So Genius X is basically engaged for organizing the on an exclusive basis for the Cardano sale. And there will be, I don't think we have released the details. I think we made the first communication like 1 or 2 weeks ago about this is going to happen. And the TGE date would be the 2nd of June. And we're expecting kind of the sale process to start. I mean, starting from you can start verifying your for the KYC process and things probably like a week or 2 weeks before. I don't think we have released that details yet, but I believe that we are scheduled to release the details. I think either today or I don't remember, but just please follow our Twitter and just watch for the next announcement. So there are going to be full details like when people can start participating and that kind of things. But basically, I think the actual sale process is going to start very soon, and it will end around the end of this month because the TGE or the token generation will be created will be happening basically on the 2nd of June, which is the same date for for all the launch pads that Cogito is going to work with. Not sure if that answers all the questions or if there are any details.
Yeah, I took from that, the 2nd of June, we're going to see some activity, and there's an announcement of more information to come that we'll have to keep a lookout and maybe follow the Cogito Protocol Twitter account. Is that right?
Yeah, I think the starting point of the process will be announced very soon, but the 2nd of June will be the end of everything. So the sale process will finish before that, like maybe like 1 or 2 days before that, and then the token generation will actually happen on the 2nd of June. So, but I think we'll open the process very soon. So I believe it's going to be probably by the end of this week. Or in the next 1 or 2 days, or if not today. So just keep an eye on that.
Awesome. Will do. Thanks for clarifying there. So should actually be in the next week or so we see more information about this. So I guess moving on, that obviously is a big milestone there, the public sale, but what milestones might we look forward to after the public sale? Is there anything on your roadmap at Cogito that you're really excited about or that you can share?
Yeah, sure. So I would say the most exciting thing, at least for me, is always about the building side. So it's about the product. We have actually, while we are busy with the token generation event, our building has never stopped. We are building our product on both Cardano and actually we also build on Ethereum as well at the moment. So we have released our demo a month ago, and we aim to release our beta in 3 to 6 months. So that's the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to. And I would also encourage all our community, Cardano community, to stay tuned for our updates and then can get to see what green coin looks like and see what they can participate. So we will have like a lot of reward programs and all incentives, etc., etc. So yeah, that's the most important milestone that I am looking at right now.
Awesome. Green coins. I like coins. Jason, are you going to be collecting any green coins?
Yeah, I think I will. I really like the idea because I think I'm not sure what's you guys' experience, but like when that day that Silicon Valley Bank had the problem, then I saw USDC depacking. It was really a big shock. So I just stopped believing in even like all this stablecoin that is basically centralized. So from that point, I'm just thinking that it's never going to work. So, think about, all of this, major stablecoin issuers, and many of them are actually centralized. So then that means you thought there's not going to be a problem, but when problem happens, you just realize that. So I really think that a decentralized stablecoin is kind of the way to go, and also I think the inflation related problem Greencoin is trying to solve. It's very interesting because I think the reason that crypto started being used or being considered important, like starting from Bitcoin, is basically the inflation of a US dollar and all the other fiat currencies, basically. So that's indeed a problem to solve, I think. And I remember seeing, I'm not sure if you guys know that actually Coinbase launched like Ethereum layer 2 blockchain. It's just called Base. And I remember reading like an announcement they made. They just said, okay, we set up a Coinbase base ecosystem fund, so we're gonna fund projects building here, and which is very normal. But they just gave 4 topics. So if you are building something that solves problem within those 4 topics, it's going to be super prioritized by our ecosystem fund. I remember one of the problems. I think they called it like a flat stablecoin or something. Yeah. Is exactly the same problem. So they also consider the inflation. It's a big problem with stablecoin as well, because fiat currency fails to solve this problem, or they actually creates this problem. But currently, all the stablecoins are not really addressing this issue. So I'm very excited to see, how the green coin designed by the Cogito team is trying to solve this problem.
That's very nice of you, Jason. So the Coinbase stablecoin idea, they call it flat coin, which was trying to tackle the inflation problem as well and offering as fiat independent. So that's literally what we have been offering the whole time. So thank you, Coinbase, for endorsing our idea.
Yeah, and I think for a Cardano DeFi ecosystem, I think it's also potentially going to be interesting. I'm not sure if that's on your roadmap of potentially releasing something for our Cardano community as well, because as you know, Cardano DeFi has been growing relatively late, and there were a number of roadblocks that basically are not allowing for the ecosystem to grow very fast. But I think starting from the beginning of this year, we have already been seeing interesting growth pattern of the Cardano DeFi sector. But I believe one of the reasons is the lack of stablecoin solutions. And right now we do have like a few options released by the Jet by the Coty team, and we have also the product by the Indigo team as well. But for instance, we haven't had any US dollar reserve backed kind of stable coins. But I think, as we said, there are several problems that cannot be solved with that kind of structure. But besides that, we don't have any other solutions. So I believe any interesting stablecoin solutions would really help the Cardano DeFi ecosystem to grow as well.
Yeah, I think we have Emergo has the USDA fiat-backed stablecoin coming. It'll be interesting to see how that plays. But just taking a step back, it's pretty awesome to have this conversation and have such a depth to the stablecoin ecosystem here on Cardano, where just a year ago there was no stablecoins at all, and now you have your choice of how decentralized you want it, what it's backed by, and obviously there's more releases to come throughout this year. So it's nice to see that we're innovating here with stablecoins, because that's such an important part of a crypto ecosystem, right? You need to be able to exit to something that's not going to immediately tank, right? So having stablecoins only makes us more viable as a blockchain ecosystem. So kudos to continuing that journey. So one thing I want to talk about is, obviously there's a lot to do here. There's a lot of innovation happening. So, can you tell us about the team that's going to make this happen? How big is the Cogito team? Where are they located? What roles, do you have? Just how can I understand what the team looks like at Cogito right now?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So currently, I would say, this is something I'm so proud of, and I keep bragging about it. I literally think we have one of the best teams in the entire space. So far we have 7 people, which covers AI, finance, tech, and marketing. So I'm the CEO. I come from banking background. I also have Janet Adams, who also comes from banking background. So she was our senior manager back in HSBC. And we have Bengerto to cover AI. So all the AI models that we will be using from SingularityNet were directly supervised by Bengerto. I mean, this is known to everybody, so I don't need to highlight on that. So we have our tech lead, so our VP of engineering who onboarded from Meta. So he used to lead over 20 engineers at Meta on one of the most prominent teams, and then he has joined us to develop our product. And we also have our marketing lead who joined from Binance, who covered for the Asia Pacific market, which will also be one of our most important market for the next couple of years. So I would say like we have a very good mix of different backgrounds. And of course, after our token generation event towards our product release, we will hire a few more people, mainly on the AI and on the blockchain side, to make the product, more well designed. And then, that's basically the plan for our team right now.
How many developers would you say you have at Cogito right now?
We have two, so dedicated to Cogito, but as I mentioned in the beginning, like we are a spin-off of SingularityNet. So basically all the engineers that are available to SingNet right now are also supporting us as needed. So I would say in total, if we include them, there will be 8.
Great. That sounds good. So to switch tracks here a little bit, and Jason, maybe this is where you might want to chime in. How has it been working with GeniusX? What have you gained from kind of working with their launchpad?
Sorry, I think it's a question for Cloris, right?
I mean, both sides of the aisle,
say,
just curious what the collaboration looks like between GeniusX and Cogito. I mean, obviously, Jason, you're here and definitely appreciate your presence in the space. But, what does collaboration look like between, GeniusX and Cogito?
I can take that. I'd love to answer this question. Yeah. So
please go ahead.
I love working with GeniusX actually. So we work with both GeniusX and Genius Yield. I'm not sure, Jason, maybe you can introduce more about like both of your business lines later. But so far, like we had some joint marketing together, like Twitter Space with Ben Gertel talking about AI, and I believe SingularityNet also has ecosystem projects. If I remember correctly, NuNet is doing staking with Genius Yield. And we are about to launch with GeniusX, and we might also we are also looking to stake with Genius Yield as well. So basically, the collaborations will be all around. So as a business partner in this case, right, throughout the past probably 3 months of discussions and working together, I really appreciated like how professional they are. Like it's not common actually in the space like to see. The entire team are very professional all around, like from the developer side that we have interacted with, marketing side, and Jason from the investor relationship side. So everybody has shown super high standard. I think that actually gives people, that's actually a very good representation of Cardano ecosystem as well, because they are right now doing are exclusive on Cardano as well. So the way that they do business makes people believe that Cardano is to a very high standard that many other blockchains are not up to yet. So that's my general feeling of this. So if you ask me how I have felt about the collaboration, I would say very good, and I would highly recommend other projects to work with them as well.
Thank you very much, Cloris. That's a very impressive comments. Thank you. No, I mean, I think we just we're a simple team. We just know what we can do, what we are able to do. And that's the roles that we have to take in this collaboration or in this deal. But I think I would echo. But I think from our side, I think working with Cloris and her team, it's a great pleasure. And they're currently still a small team, as she just mentioned that it will grow like after all the fundings and financings are completed. But I think with a small team, they're very efficient, so they know what they're doing. Because during the collaboration, in the last few weeks, and we don't have a very loose timeline. We can sit down and think about a lot of things, and because we have to discuss a lot of details between the collaborations between the two parties, and also figure out what exactly we do. And so there were a lot of information exchanges and back and forth and stuff like that. So I think their team has always been super fast, producing informations or making changes and updates, or coming to us to discuss and figure out solutions to problems that we have identified with just a couple of people. So I think that's great, and I really see that as a reflection of the team's capability of developing their product, in the next stage of the business. And so I think also with that experience, we kind of trusted the team as well, and so we decided to really to have a deep level of collaboration and help the team to market their token sale within the Cardano community, because for ourselves, we really trust that this is going to be the team. This is the team that is worth investing, basically.
Got it. Yeah, that resonates a lot with me. I'm for full disclosure, I'm a Genius Yield ambassador, so I've been working a little bit with the Genius Yield team, and I've definitely noticed there's an efficiency to it. They run very lean, and kind of only grow the team as needed, but they're able to get a lot done. So great to hear it, coming up in your interactions as well. Blockjock, you have your hand up. Do you have a question for our guests?
Good morning. Yeah, and
good morning.
Apologies for being late. I usually never wake up late, so I don't even set an alarm anymore. But I do apologize. So I was listening to the presentation so far, and I'm always a little bit intrigued as to what a non-financial indice or index that you're going to use as a way to back the stability of the coin. And then, of course, we also have, early on, right? Because we're still early on into AI and things of that nature. So we're all still learning quite a bit, right? As to how it's going to interact, how it's going to work. And so with anything new, there's always hiccups and problems and issues that you have to overcome. So I'm curious as to how you're managing that part of it, and then give me a prime example of what a non-financial indice or index would look like.
Sure, no problem. Thank you for the question. So first of all, the non-financial index refers the first one that we are referring to is the green index, which measures the positive progress towards a green economy. So I mentioned that we source a lot of data from different sources and feed them into our model to produce this in-house created green index. And then the green index, based on our historical testing, moves about 1% to 2% per year, which provides a super good benchmark for our green coin to peg to. This is one. So second, you mentioned that how can a non-financial index back the stablecoin? So it is not the index that backs the stablecoin. The index here is to offer a benchmark. So our green coin will be pegged to this green index, but the pegging or the stabilization mechanism itself will mainly be assisted by one, collateral. So when users come to mint our green coin, they will need to deposit collateral with us, and that compromises of our treasury, and then we will be managing the treasury in order to maintain the peg. So from that perspective, we are still a fully collateralized stablecoin. So that is the main backing mechanism. And
okay. Of course, let me stop you before you go any further. Then, what particular token are you going to allow to be used as a collateral? Will it be another stable coin like JED, say, for example? Or it doesn't sound like it's going to be anything fiat backed. So what exactly is it that you're going to allow to be used as the collateral, which is going to back the particular stablecoin?
Yeah, sure. So there will be a transitional period. So right now, we will have different phases of product release, right? So we will start with the least risky assets, least volatile assets, for example, stablecoins. So other stablecoins, for example, we want to introduce DAI or USDC or Jade, actually, as we talked with Jade a couple months earlier when we were talking about partnerships. So it will be a basket of other stable coins. So on this stage, as you can see, as long as we are including USDC, right, the decentralization is not like complete. So we will be phrasing into like include reducing this kind of centralized assets and include more of decentralized assets, for example, ADA. Or if we are offering on Ethereum, then we include ETH, like other blue chip tokens. So the way that we do it, because like all these blue chip tokens, they also have relatively high volatility as compared to stable coins. So we will be applying a risk factor for each of these assets. For example, if we include ADA in our treasury, right, we might apply a 15% discount rate or risk factor, which means for every $100 worth of ADA, we might only be able to mint $85 worth of Gcoin. So by doing that, we are still fully collateralized after the risk factor. But if we look at the market value, we will be over collateralized. So that's the roadmap here. And in the longer term, so because we are aiming for a DAO governance, basically to include anything into our treasury as the collateral, it will be subject to a DAO vote, as in like, okay, what to be included, how much should we include? Of course, our treasury management team will be giving a guidance in terms of risk management and stuff, but it will be subject to DAO governance there. And another common question that I have received so far is that, okay, will your project use your native token, for example, CGV, to mint your Gcoin? And the answer is very clear that no, because our CGV token and our Gcoin are highly correlated. Like introducing our native token will introduce the risk here, and then we don't want to do that. We want to stay as resilient as possible. So that is a common question that I got. I hope I answered your question in terms of what collaterals.
You did. And so the other questions I would have then, because this leads me into the next spot. So you're going to take these particular tokens, you're going to put them in a treasury. One is that you're going to have multiple owners of the keys, correct? So because you talked about a DAO, ultimately it would be a multi-sig of some sort or something of that nature, so that there's not just one person in control or three people in control of the keys, things of that nature. The other side of that is that when you take and pull, ETH is a highly volatile, and I really hesitate to think that it in any way can back anything, just simply because of the ebb and flow of it. Even Bitcoin is not really something to be used as a stable coin or a backing asset for a stable coin in any way personally, myself. But if you're going to take that coin in, are you then going to invest that particular asset, or is it just going to sit in a treasury, or are you going to use it and put it into short-term treasuries? I mean, what are you doing with that once you get it?
Yeah, very good question. So first of all, to answer your first part of the comment, for sure, we'll have multi-sig. I mean, right now for our very limited operation, we are already implementing multi-sig system already. So for the second one, like, can we include these volatile assets into our treasuries? My answer is yes. As I mentioned, like, we are not just taking them. There are several things that we are doing to manage the risk. First is how much we can take, the total percentage, right? Second is how much of what is the risk factor that we are applying to? For example, is Bitcoin or ADA, we might think about applying 15%. If later we include other tokens, we might apply higher haircut on the market value to make sure that, even if the market is volatile, even if the value changes along the time, we are still, for example, 95% covered in terms of any extreme events, this kind of mechanism to make sure that the redemption of the green coin is guaranteed. The third part is like, after we get that, so what would we do with the assets treasury? Yes, we will be managing the treasury, and we will actually invest it according to the feature of the green coin. For example, in our case, right, our green coin moves basically 1 to 2% per year. So which means, like, as long as our treasury management can generate 2% annual return per year, our green coins movement can be supported. So that's basically the aim of the treasury management, 2% annual return. That part will be completed by our treasury management, assisted with the AI models that I mentioned earlier that was developed by Singularity. So you mentioned that, the AI models are still early, like it's still like on testing stage, which is very true. That's why we will have this transitional period as well, where we will be using the AI models to help us, to assist us with the investment decision. For example, like when we diversify our treasury into different assets, like the AI models will help us to identify the correlations, or if it will offer some hedge to our portfolio or anything. And all that kind of decision making will help us to have a more efficient capital deployment in terms of achieving the treasury management yield.
So that leads me to my final question then, because having to do with using green or data that has to do with, let's say there's an emerging tech, or there's tech that we have now, solar, electric, wind, things of that nature. People are using those now, carbon credits, almost like their cash. They're actually turning them back in. Tesla did that with their when Elon needed to make sure that he hit his benchmark in order to get his the money he was supposed to receive as CEO. And so they went into the black basically by using their carbon credits, selling them back. And currently, one of the carbon credit receivers is BP, which produces more, burns fossil fuels and produces, more junk into the air than most any other company. Yet they're receiving, a good score. And so that data really sounds, or to me at least, very skewed. Where are you going to be pulling your data from in order to ensure that it's not tainted with, just what the government does on a regular basis with us?
Yeah, I really love your question. That's very technical, which shows that you understand the project really well. Thank you for that. So regarding the data, the green index here, right? So the model that we are building is basically tracking the positive progress towards the green economy. So for example, when we include the data, right, the technological breakthrough is included. And for example, the adoption of green energy will be included. And then to mitigate the risk of, for example, the wrongdoing or the manipulation of certain government or certain bodies, the way we are diversifying. I would say we are using diversification because we include as many as 40 different indicators, and each indicator will have different weight to be able to be included into the green index. So which means so we will be having, for example, United Nations, we'll have OECD, we'll have data from some universities, etc., etc. So because we have such a large base of data, so one taint point won't really impact our overall outcome. This is for one. And second, because the data most of the time is macro data, for example, is global, these won't be changed significantly by one country. So it needs the global nations to collude together to actually contaminate the data altogether and then to manipulate our green index. That's actually the whole reason that we are choosing green index as compared to many other possible indexes to be our benchmark, the nature of being manipulation proof.
Clarice, I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. I'm really actually excited for what you guys are doing. I personally just love the idea of being able to promote something like this, and ultimately you guys becoming a launch pad for other green initiatives, which it sounds to me is something that in the future you'll probably be doing. So congratulations, everything now, and here's to the future.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Yeah.
Thank you, Blockjock. Those were some very good questions. So, I think other people might have questions too. So, what is the best way for people to get in contact, with your team? And, as a follow-up to that, are you planning to attend any in-person events, maybe Cardano Summit, maybe Rare Evo, maybe CNFTCon? Curious when we might, meet in person.
Yeah, for sure. So actually, we have been very active in Cardano events, because we are part of Singularity, and Singularity is a very loyal project within the ecosystem. I believe we were in Cardano Summit last year, very bloom. Last year was very bloom, right? So this year is very evo, rare evo, yeah. So I believe if I might be there, or if I'm not there, my team will be there for sure. So we will be able to meet in person. And before that, everybody is encouraged to follow our Twitter, join our Telegram, and you can reach me whenever. If you have any questions, shoot me a message, and I will address as much as I can.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you'll stop by the Epoch booth, and maybe we can grab you for a quick interview on the floor as we kind of connect with the audience there at Rare Evo. So definitely looking forward to that.
Awesome, thank you.
So my last question, before we open it up, and now's a great time for anyone in the audience who wants to ask questions. This is a great time to request speaker, and we will get you all up here. But do you have any closing words or call to action for our audience before we go to other questions?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I want to say that what we are building here is definitely a new experiment. It's something that the market has not really done anything before. So it's worth experimenting, and we are doing that with the best standard, with the best team. So I highly encourage everyone to stay tuned about our development, and they support us. And also in the very near term, as we are having the token generation event, I would also appreciate everybody to come to see what's happening. And if you want to participate, go to Genius X to participate, and let me know if you have any questions.
Awesome. Jason, anything you want to close with, or any call to action on your end?
Yeah. No, I think not much more than that. I think it's I would just maybe make another point. I think just besides the token sale, and I think again we believe the team here is building a product that is very interesting. So I think that it's really going to produce value for the Cardano DeFi sector. So if anyone knows any projects that are doing anything DeFi related that might have some business potential business to do with a product like Cogito, just feel free to reach out to them. So, but otherwise, if you want to support the product, and just check out on our launchpad, which we're gonna again make a very clear, detailed announcement on next steps. I believe very soon or shortly, and yeah. So I think that's it.
Awesome. And I have received, I guess, a couple desire to reach out to y'all, but it looks like both of your DMs are closed at the moment. I'd consider maybe opening that, during this period when, you might be getting more questions. That way people can reach out to you directly. But other than that, thank you so much for joining us on Cardano over coffee. We're going to, transition here to our banter time when kind of anything goes. There's no scripted questions here. So you're free to stick around and banter with us. But just want to really say thank you for joining us and sharing all of this directly with our audience. Blockjock, Jenny, any closing thoughts or questions or anything on your minds?
I had a couple of them. It's just having to do with the CGV coin. And is there a particular DEX that you're going to be working with in the beginning, creating a liquidity pool or anything of that nature?
Yes. So on Cardano, we are in talk with MinSwap right now.
Okay, so it's just MinSwap only. So are you going to do similar, because they were, I think, the first ones to do a liquidity bootstrapping event, LBE, or so is that something that you're thinking about doing? Is that how you're going to create the liquidity, or are you just going to match liquidity? You've already got your own treasury and you just create a large liquidity pool to start off?
Probably the latter one, yeah. But I'm open to suggestions because we have not really finalized on that yet. We are still in discussions. So yeah, I may consider other options as well, yeah.
Okay.
I think...
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Blockjock. I just on that point, I'm just not sure, because you mentioned liquidity bootstrapping, but my understanding is that's basically is a process for price discovery, isn't it? Or maybe I'm wrong. But I
Yeah,
think in any ways with the
it is a
yeah, go
process
ahead.
for price discovery for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case for Cogito because they're going to do the IDO basically with Genius X, so it's going to be a priced public sale. So then I think with that, it's going to be like a normal liquidity matching just from their not necessarily treasury, but there's going to be an allocation from their tokenomics.
That'll lead me then to another question, because Genius did a public sale, and they had a 3-tiered system for their sale, but they only were allowed to do it outside of the U.S. And there was a few other countries that they could not do it in due to, the liquidity or the regulatory deal we're working with here in the U.S. How's that going to work?
Yeah, I think that's the KYC, right? So it's I think it's basically
Correct.
Our launchpad is regulated here in Switzerland, so there are like certain rules we have to follow. I think it's not really a Swiss thing; it's really a US thing, and I think that's probably going to be the case, unfortunately. But again, I think we'll just release the details, and maybe if there anyone from the community has questions related to that, and they're welcome to just check with our teams directly and see what can be done. But I don't think we're going to change the KYC rule just simply because of the regulation that we have to follow.
Sure, that makes total sense. And not that I'm an expert in this in any way, shape, or form, but I did watch the Genius launch or the public sale. And that started out at about, I think, it got up to 150. And by the time they were done with it, I think we were down to about 90 once it was finally available on a DEX. And people started providing liquidity for it. So it was actually cheaper to buy it after the sale versus before. For us who live in the U.S., we were actually able to participate at that time. So you might want to use that as a benchmark as to whether or not you overshoot your price to begin with,
Yeah, but I think that could be different because I think it's if you want to just reference to something for Cogito, I think the best benchmark would be a Rejuve and Hypercycle because they're like similar, Singularity Net incubated projects, but they're focused on solving problem in other sectors. So, the Rejuve and Hypercycle, they also organized public token sales but I think neither of them did on Cardano, but you can check on DAOmaker or CDFI basically where they did it. And if you look at the token performance, I think it did pretty well. So I think Rejuve AI actually did 10x like after the IDO, and still it fallen down afterwards, but still it's like 3-4 times the current token price compared to the IDO, and Hypercycle is about 3 times, I think. So yeah, I think there's some difference here. So I think it's better that everybody does their own research and just figure out what's the best way for them to participate.
No, great. That's great information. I didn't know that Rejuve. I'm in Rejuve right now, but it's definitely on the downside. But if I'd been part of the IDO, maybe I'd be a little better off right now. Thanks. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. I know you got Blockjock on your side once you start talking about, token price and trends, the news action. So I think Blockjock liked that answer.
I love that answer. And that was actually a great answer. But getting into the IDO is an issue for me because, I live in a country where we're in a nanny state, basically. So it doesn't allow us to, do what we want because, we don't know what's good for us, apparently. So, I'm not sure exactly how to, it's quite annoying. I want to actually change citizenships. Maybe I'll move off to Lausanne, which sounds good.
You're not alone.
I'm sure.
I'm still waiting to mint my JED. It kills me every I go to the JED website and it's like, you can't do anything. You're American. I'm like, oh, good.
It just makes you crazy, really, I mean, my God, I thought we were living in, this is supposed to be the freest region in the world. And it's quite the opposite when it really comes to things. So yeah, I'm really actually excited for you guys and what you're doing. The AI proliferation, I'm going to call it, is really taken off. And some people are very fearful of it. Other people are in the middle of it. They're not sure. And then there are others that are carefully considering all of their choices and options going forward because I believe it's going to create quite a bit more, quite a bit quicker than we'd ever possibly imagined before, as far as advancements in tech. So we're really in an exciting time, I think.
Cloris, sorry if I missed this, but where are you based out of right now? Are you in St. Lucia or Switzerland or one of these beautiful places? New York. So you're stuck with us in the U.S.
Yeah, we're on the same boat for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to be respectful of your time. We've been going for about 1 hour now. Definitely appreciate all of the time and energy you put into answering these questions. But it's been great chatting with you. And yeah, anything else to add here?
No, I think that'll be all. And thank you very much for the time. I really appreciated the conversation, and thank you for all the good questions.
Hey, Cloris, one thing I would be amiss if I didn't mention it. If you're thinking about Cardano and you're thinking about oracles, now I know it says in your white paper that you're looking at oracle solutions outside of the traditional, but we do have an oracle solution called Charlie Free. With Damon, and if you haven't met him yet, I'd be more than happy to introduce you. But it might be somebody that may be able to work with you in the future, at least for Cardano.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you. Yes, please do.
Just, I'm not sure if your DMs are open. Go ahead and shoot me a DM, and I'll be able to connect you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and this is a good time to go ahead and give Cloris and Jason a follow while they're still up here as speakers. So, go to their profile, give them a follow, and then, feel free to follow up directly with them if you have any questions. But it sounds like an exciting time for the Cogito team and GeniusX as well with this IDO that's going on. And, I wish you all the best of luck in the next 2 weeks. For sure, it's going to be interesting to track your progress. And maybe you guys can stop by in a few weeks more, once another milestone is clenched and you have some more details or announcements to share. We definitely would love to have you back on the space.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Cardano Over Coffee, and special thanks to Cogito Protocol and also GeniusX Launchpad for joining us today. We hope to see you in Denver, Colorado, August 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets at rareevo.io. Use coupon code COC10 for 10% off. We look forward to seeing you there.